Welcome back to Unveiling Media Space. Thank you for joining us again. This is yet another exciting episode we are about to give you. And if you're new on this particular channel, this is your one-stop space for generational impactation, change, and just for inspiration. We like to create a safe environment where youth can come to for knowledge, for power, and just for mind-blowing personal ideas. So today with me, I have a guest. If you have already guessed, I have a guest. So from our last video, Are You an Agri-preneur? We got to connect with him, who is doing an amazing work already promoting agricultural entrepreneurship. And today with me, we will be discussing some very mind-blowing, changing ideas that can also impact the youthful generation of today. So without belaboring the point, I mean, he has done so much in our Cameroonian sphere as a whole, but without belaboring the point, you will get to know the man himself from his own words. But without belaboring the point, I just want to quickly introduce to you the guest in the house. He is an entrepreneur, he is a game changer, he is an innovator, all of that. He is all of that and more. So join us as we get to talk with Mr. Cyril Akonte, the one and only. Keep that name, we'll be right back. So welcome to Unveiling Media Space.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure to have you. I'm so happy that we're finally getting to sit down and do this and have this discussion.
Definitely. And I must say you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We try. On the camera we have Rich Manga. Uncle Rich, you want to say hi? Yes. So today it's very interesting that you have to travel all the way from Yaoundé just to come and sit down with us and have this discussion. So we are very honored. First,
if you weren't doing something serious, I wouldn't be here. I like dealing with serious-minded people. Oh. And from your last video I saw, I think you're also a game changer.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. So thumbs up for the Game Valley community. We are doing great, okay? Just so you know. But anyway, so actually, it was just by luck per se that we get to maybe connect again about the last video. But first, I've heard so much about you, so I feel like I already know you. But what is the most common misconception that people have about you?
Yeah, as you say, yeah, you've heard a lot. I think I've done a lot for my community. I am proud about that. I've always been a pacesetter in all I do, and I always throw in my mind, my body, my soul. And being a change maker, people will get to misinterpret you, people will get to disconnect with your vision at one point in time. So, but then the best thing I could say is I'm who I am. Those who know me, they know me. So I've always stayed true to my values, which is about impacting my community. I've done that from being an entertainer, being an entrepreneur, running NGO activities, etc. But one in common is having that humane face in all I do. So as we move along the interview, you're gonna hear the true me from my own words, in my own perspective.
That is it. That's getting to know Siri in his own words and not in the words of what others say. You know. So what continuously motivates you to want to drive change and to inspire the community?
Yeah, from my background, from the education I had, from the family I come from having, I wanted to be a priest.
Oh.
So yeah, I went to Bishop Logan Minor Seminary my first 5 years. So I think I was brought up in that concept to have a soft spot for humanity. And I was brought up to think that life is not just all about material possession. And I always tell people my wealth is creating wealthy people. So I think I've made some people who they are by what I believe in and by what I position them to do and by changing their own perspectives. So look at wealth so much from the material perspective. I look at wealth from what you do to impact the human race.
That's nice. So basically, can you tell us a little bit about some of the projects that you've gotten to run in Cameroon? I mean, there's just so much that somebody can identify you with.
Yes, so much. I think I've done so much, and I've never had the opportunity to promote myself in media, but I think that people silently will know what I've done and will appreciate silently. If you think of what the entertainment industry is today, I think we played our part with a team of more than 200 Cameroonians, because it was like the Guild of Cameroon Splash Networks. We had to rally Cameroonians all over the country: Douala, Yaoundé, Bamenda, Boya. We had our offices there, and these are youths who are eager for change. These are youths who used to see entertainment only from the perspective of Nigerians, but we had that opportunity to bring it close to their doorsteps. And the excitement was so wild, and we had the US Embassy and some other big corporations supporting what we're doing. I had my independence at a very young age. As early as 22, 23, I was already being on my own. So I didn't enjoy the kind of mentorship we're giving to some youths now. So there are things that I did that if I could go back, turn back the hands of time, I'll do it differently. But then I was exposed to a lot, and I did the best I could, and the entertainment industry is what it is today because we walked a very difficult terrain. We're first in all, bringing the Nigerians, and first in showcasing our movies in the United States.
I remember vividly, like very, very well, the first time I got to watch a work of yours, Peace Offering. At that time, you know, it's like for as long as I can remember, I've just always really admired what went into that particular movie, and I felt like it really created a fertile ground for lots of people inside the entertainment industry today. And I just remember idolizing some of the characters that I saw in that movie up to date. I will always remember Tange, Sufo, like we're just talking about it. So basically there is a lot of work that, you know, as you rightly have said, that you've put in, and you don't do enough in selling yourself. But some of us, we know, and some people know. I'm sure some of you watching, you definitely know. So
Peace Offering, if I should call it, was very inspirational at that point in time. Peace is priceless, you know, and we came out with something, Peace Offering. That was when Cameroon was having a border crisis with Nigeria. So from the private sector to come out with an initiative, Peace Offering, a confidence building mechanism coming in from a private sector. We had to shoot the collaborative film between Cameroon and Nigeria. It was very amazing to see youths in that area doing that. So it's still a nearby cry that we'll always say in all we do: let's
bring back the peace.
Bring back the peace we need.
That's almost prophetic, especially now.
It is. Come
to think about it. So of all those particular projects that you've worked on, which has been the closest to your heart, and why?
For the part of movies, I think I've done 3 movies. I did Peace Offering. I was the associate producer of Before the Sunrise 1 and 2, where I had to work for the first. I worked for the first time with Abba Gilbert. I had to bring in all the technical crew, and it was good. And I've also worked on Wendy 1 and 2. Yes, also we had.
Like I watched all of your movies.
Yeah, definitely. So those are movies I worked on passionately, and as I said, I've always been a groundbreaker. After that, I went into reality shows, and we did the first ever solid reality show you could ever think Cameroon ever had. We're trailed by BBC and a lot of fans. The views we had on the launching, 1 million. I don't think anybody has ever had that. You know, it wasn't the best, but I think is to make the world know that Cameroon has something to offer, and we're not yet done there yet. I think Cameroon still has the best to offer when it comes to a reality show. It's just a matter of time. I think I've always been a sacrificial lamb in starting for others to follow, and once I see that it becomes crowded, I think once I've led the piece, I go to something new. And that brings me to where we are, Agri-preneurship. Who wants to be an agripreneur? Which is in a way a reality show as well, but it has some key values that we're trying to position our youths to where they ought to be, since we know the future billionaires of Africa will come from the agricultural sector. So that said, I think if I didn't become a priest, but I think I still feel that divine mission in me.
So have you always been like an entrepreneur, or you've at some point gone to actually, follow a particular career?
Yeah, all I've been doing is being entrepreneurial in a way. So I worked for somebody twice. I'm a banker by profession, so I worked in Guaranty Trust Bank in Nigeria. I studied in Nigeria. I worked there for a year, Guaranty Trust Bank. I was in the UK for 5 years. I had a break. Definitely I had to hustle like this stuff there, yeah. But in my country here, I'd always been on my own. And the last station I had where I worked was the public relation officer for AfroBrains, a company that is into transformation. And that's what really inspired me much to go into agriculture or to do stuffs.
And what has that journey been like for you? What is the experience of being an entrepreneur in your own words?
It's very tough. It's a very tough journey, but you have to believe in what you're doing. If you're not passionate in what you're doing, you easily give up. There'll be lots of roadblocks, and that brings me to my motto in life, which is transforming stumbling blocks into stepping stones. So I'll encourage others that don't never give up, and all the successful people you think out there, do not think they had it on a platter of gold. No.
That couldn't have been any better said.
Yeah.
That couldn't have been any better said. If you're an entrepreneur watching out there and know you can connect to that, I think I tend to see these days that in a world where the benchmark for success is so externally defined, everyone has a structure of what it is to be a successful man. You have how many houses, how many cars, you drive the best, but we need to figure out what actually success is in our own words and in our own terms. What you're comfortable with as success. So that brings me now to my next question about the project of today. So what is Cyril working on today?
The project Who Wants to Be an Agri-preneur is something that's so close to my heart. In all the projects I've done, this one is so close to my heart because I'm dealing with kids, with youth in schools. We're covering 5 regions, and each time you talk to these kids, you inspire them. They are so welcoming, they are so innocent. I have a daughter, she's 10 years old, and I think she's not here, she's abroad, but I think one of those things that you could make her see or feel convinced that she could make it here in Cameroon. And so we're telling the youths, food from Africa will sustain the world someday. Be it in its natural form or be it transformed. What matters now is the packaging and the finesse, especially when it comes to bao. And we need to eat natural. So we're telling the youth, no matter what you do, be it you're a medical doctor, be it all the rich people you see out there, Bill Gates, they're into agriculture, but you wouldn't know. Dangote, they're into agriculture, but you wouldn't know. So no matter what you're doing as a profession, agriculture could either be a side hustle or your main hustle. So we're telling them, do those stuff that will never fail you. Land will never fail you, and we'll have the land in abundance. It's just for us now to be innovative in all we're doing. Let's be patriotic. That's the message we're giving to this youth out there. This edition we have more than 40 schools. When I go around, you talk to them, I see the excitement, and connecting our schools to be productive grounds, not just churning out graduates. In Dembali, there's a lot at the time we didn't know. We had these classmates, very intelligent, people of frightful intelligence, and you couldn't measure up with them, and what next when we're out of school? There was that aspect that was lacking. They weren't streetwise. And you see them lagging behind, looking frustrated in what they do, being teachers with little stipends. Why? Those who were average and were able to mix and interact, you see them doing very well, both locally and abroad. So this is the deal for youths to know. Life doesn't start and end with being smart in school. There's a lot. You have to be secular, you have to be streetwise, and that's what we're trying to tell them, so that There's that financial literacy our parents did not tell us much about, which was lacking. That's the kind of knowledge we're giving the youth. Practical things that you should know, that the government cannot do it all. Cameroon is a civil service economy. We have to turn that around. We are growing, our population is growing at a geometric rate, you know. For how long can we go to the ENAMs, the ENS, and what?
And
for how long?
Process less and less accessible
to the average Cameroonian. So we're producing, we're encouraging youth to be more of job creators than job seekers. That's the notion we have to build our nation on, you know. We just need the government to create the enabling environment, and we go out there, fight, bustle it out, create the opportunities for yourself, your family, and for others, you know. So by the time we're going to the next third, fourth edition, we've created a relationship between those who want to be entrepreneurs by creating agric or agri-tech clubs in all the schools that are taking part. And the administration encourages them by working in partnership with them to come up with good projects, you know, be it in agriculture or waste management. And that should be appealing to the public. That can impact our communities. And by the time we're giving you a startup capital of say 2 million to carry out that project, we have to be sure it has to be sustainable, it has to be successful. So these kids, these youths from school, they start knowing what it takes to be an entrepreneur, what it takes to survive in a harsh business environment. I'm amazed by some of the projects these kids are bringing up in terms of transformation. Creating plantain flour, etc. That could make bread, you know, that could supply their school. That's internal revenue. That could supply their school, and that could supply the local. For example, Sase, that coming up with a good project, that, or even Bishop Rogan, you know. And then there's a school at the hinterland of Bafut. There's Good Shepherd. There is this other school, St. Abed. Yeah, from Bafut. When I see the schools from the hinterlands, you know, come on with this project, that could help their community, that could bring in income, that could, you know, transform things that could be useful to the school themselves. Think of what they spend in feeding the schools, and just imagine that entrepreneurial club in your school, which is the agri-tech club, producing those things that could generate income, and then, you know, help the school. You kept costs, you know.
So if you were to tell us more about the structure of who wants to be an agripreneur, just give us a summary for those who don't really know what the whole concept is.
Agri-preneur is made up of some young, talented people that believed in the vision I brought up, and they believe life is not just all about, making the money. Life is also all about changing the narrative. We're change makers. And so we group like-minded people. We're now in 5 regions. We're grouping the citadels of education are the highest learning tools that we could use to impact on these youths, to impact the values we want. And so we're targeting schools. And for this second edition, you'll be surprised to know the universities. After this, we're going to the universities. Yeah, we're also doing the same what we're doing for universities. And there's a third category for individuals. There are people out there in the villages that have good projects that need as little as 500,000 to start, be it in piggery, be it in waste management or stuff like that. This is an opportunity we're bringing for you. You just need a phone. If you have a good phone, do a 2-minute video wherever you are in Cameroon, be it in north, south, east, west. Send to us in our dedicated numbers. Once your project is good, we're going to upload it on our social media handles. And the best 20s all over Cameroon. Regionally, we'll select the best 2 or 3 from each region. And we'll invite you to come to Yaoundé. We'll put you on, CRTV is one of our major partners. We'll put you on TV for you to campaign, to tell us, to speak. To be an entrepreneur, you have to know how to pitch. So you have to sell yourself. Pitching. You pitch yourself, you sell your ideas, and the public will vote for the best 5, and we'll give them startup capitals. So that's who we are. That's what we want to bring out there. That's the innovation we're bringing out there. So some people have already started sending in their videos. So you, hey, listening, if you have any good project in agriculture or waste management that you think can transform the life of others and yours, say it. And we're training you because when you get into that business room, that boardroom to pitch your project, your executive summary says it all. That's why we're giving you 2 minutes. When I talk to these youths, by the time you're giving me a project, the first 2 minutes I could pick out whether I could go with the flow or not. So your 2 minutes summary, executive summary, is able for us to know what you could do, what it could impact your community, and we will help you by giving you a startup capital. That's who we are. That's the new generation of youth we are. We're not just driven about success in terms of money. We are driven about success being in the value we add to our community, the people we create. And who I am today because of people I've made. I could never go hungry because of people I've made. By the time we start understanding that, you could create people that will always come to your rescue. And I keep telling people, when you give, the Lord opens a lot of doors for you. And that's why our project we're identifying with the Holy Union Sisters. It's a Catholic, it's a Catholic congregation. And they told me they went to a village somewhere in the east where kids don't go to school because they don't have food to eat. And so they're luring kids into education by giving them a food for them to come to school. And so a food is 100 francs a day. And that's why my project, that's one of the charitable guest organization we've identified. And they needed as little as 2.5 million a year. And I told Reverend Sister Constance Fonju, I told her, you know what, my project is going to identify with you. And after all is said and done, we're going to give you this amount of money to do what? 100 francs a day. And I told you, I might not be able to give you what you want, but I'll give you the exposure you need.
I know a challenge in Cameroon is the systems we have to work with are not very accommodating of change. I mean, Cameroon has had a whole educational pedagogy that probably lasted almost 90 years or more before they are now changing it, and accepting change, it takes a long time in Cameroon. So how have they accepted this idea, and how are they supporting this idea?
Yeah, I think of sorted the blessings from the authorities, that be it from the Ministry of Civic and Youth Affairs, be it from the Ministry of Secondary Education. I think we've always written to them, made every effort to let them know what we're doing. And I think by giving us the leeway to do what we do is a form of encouraging what we're doing. But most importantly, the schools are embracing what we're doing, and that they all accept that we've passed that age where we're just more of theory. We need things like this, practical. We're doing things, and they're saying agriculture is valuable. Even doing a garden in school for these kids to understand the value of land, And so most of the schools are embracing that concept, and they are very much in church. This is the first of its kind. For you to hear students pitching with coming in collaboration with the schools to pitch a project that the school wants to do, conniving with the private sector to do something that's not the government giving them money to do, is so amazing. We have government schools taking part. We have Catholic schools taking part. We have Baptist schools taking part. We have Presbyterian schools taking part.
It is an idea for every school, for everyone. So if you are a government school, if you're a Catholic school, if you're whatsoever school and you want to partake, you can effectively get to us, and you can figure out a way to be a part of who wants to be an.
And most of the schools, they're already tailoring their agenda towards having agricultural clubs, environmental clubs, and we're trying to form agri-tech clubs in all the schools, taking that's the advantage. With our partner, we're going to come, push, support, mentor, and collaborate with you. There are even universities who are seeking partnership with, which from secondary high school, you could be mentored into those universities where they groom you into being proper agripreneurs,
The thing I like the most about your project, it has a lot of things that I can identify with, and it probably accumulates for me 3 particular things that I work on a daily. I have environmental sustainability, where I partner with another organization. I showcase it a lot on this particular channel, where we try to protect the environment by recycling waste,
very important,
all of that. And working with kids, if in August, like I told you, I was absent because I have particular program where I do work with kids, on career orientation, and we were so also passionate about including agriculture into our sustainable development goals. Basically, this entire channel is about entrepreneurship. Beautifully, that just gets to probably really showcase the direction in which the world is now evolving.
Definitely.
That we are trying to create this much impact for you to understand. It's like I tell people all the time, I'm not the most successful entrepreneur around you. Like I might not even have that much experience like the greats, have had. But I find it necessary to create a platform where we can talk about these things because I see the movement.
Definitely.
And I see an opportunity for more youths like myself to be useful and not just be out there and hoping that the systematic way works.
And most importantly, we tell them there's an important component that's getting to business that we just have to flow with the times: digitalization, which is what we tell them. The world is going digital, so there should be positive use of the internet and the social media.
I say that in some
positive
of my videos,
use of
like
it, and also
we are trying to show youths how they can use these particular platforms and be useful on the internet. How do you think the world at large can probably encourage agripreneurial endeavors?
Yeah, it has far-reaching ramifications. One, you're already positioning your country to address food scarcity. You're creating job opportunities that people used to shy away. I've spoken with a lot of people. Young people used to shy away from agriculture. We're making it look luring, sexy, making agriculture look sexy. So it's enticing them to go into agriculture. So what we should tell the youths and the government, which they're already doing something in that light, is the land never fails. And in Africa, all of us who have inherited land in one way or the other, wasting in the hinterlands. And instead of us, we can come and construct,
bring down the
trees and
put story buildings.
No, we could. That's why we say, in a sustainable and environmentally friendly manner. Even doing agriculture should be in a friendly manner to our environment, so that we protect it for posterity, for our children, our great grandchildren. We should all encourage our youth to see value in that and see that going to agriculture is not a shameful thing. We need them. Even being a nurse or a doctor, you could still do agriculture as a side hustle. Why? This will serve the government a lot. We had a lot of experience when the border was closed due to the Ukraine war. Food prices were skyrocketing. But it was a good moment for all of us to sit behind and rethink. There could be a more grievous instance that could happen than what just happened. So we have to be able to be self-sustainable, to produce our oil, to produce our wheat, to produce all those. There's a lot of opportunities, and then in return, we consume ours and export our excesses. That's what brings in the hard currency into our economy. So we should not just be economy of consumers, we should be exporters. That's where we could bring in also hard currency. And if we concentrate on this for the next 2-3 years, I think we'll be doing a lot of good stuff that could be found in the shelves of supermarket in Europe and America.
And this is the thing that I think Cameroonians have now gotten to understand, and we now know it. But if you're not exposed enough, if you're not opportune enough to maybe actually travel a lot, you will not understand that Cameroon has probably the best food in the whole world.
Definitely.
We have a lot of variety.
Natural.
We have a lot of, like you go to different countries and you're basically surviving on rice in all forms.
I'm telling you.
So imagine that we have the soil.
Cameroon is the food basket of Africa. We have
everything.
Everything.
We have everything.
Yeah.
So now let me ask you, are you an agripreneur yourself?
Yes, I am.
What do you specialize in?
I specialize in ginger. I supply ginger to the company I told you I work for. And ginger does well in Bafut. Despite the crisis, we still try to grow ginger. And so that's my fear. But still as that, I'm thinking of doing more other things. I'm thinking of growing. Since my grandfather and my father inherited a lot of land from my grandfather. I think I intend making use of part of it to grow a lot of stuff.
And borrow some land from you.
I'm advising the youths that going into agriculture should not just be the producing the raw materials. I think we should be thinking of the innovative part of it, which is the transformation. And what I realized was a lot of our produce used to get wrath, or we sell them at the value which is below what you could want. Go to markets when you have these people bringing in the tomatoes. When it's getting to the night, when it's getting late to the night, when they know it might get spoiled, they give it at any giveaway prices. Just take. And so what I'm encouraging them now is not just doing the production, but doing the transformation as value. Transforming that tomatoes into paste. Transforming that leeks into powder, ginger into powder. It sustains the lifespan. You could stay for as long as 2 years, and so you add some more value, and you could export even.
Like, okay, in the last 5 years or even in the last 7 years, a lot of all these transformational companies have actually picked up in Cameroon.
Yes, I've picked up.
Now you go to the market, you have kitchen, competition. You have all this, sachet, garlic, sachet.
Yeah, definitely. It's coming up. It's picking up.
But we have a common misconception that it's not healthy to use to cook. So sometimes I tend to actually promote that. But every time I'm gonna have, my mom might actually tell me, nah, just go do your natural ginger. It's fine for your health. You don't think so?
No, there's standard organizations that supervise, like I know, that supervise what is being done by the standard organ. Every country they have that. Cameroon has this. Once those are met, those transformation companies are being supervised, and those standards are met, we don't need to be scared, because anything that goes out there must have passed through a certain test. They go through laboratory testing and everything to be sure. And I think if that is done, we don't need to be scared. There should be that trademark to recognize this thing has been proven, has been tested, and you don't have to think it's substandard or so. There'll be fakes that will come up, there'll be quacks that will be out there, but you should also know that people who are trying to dance by the rules, by doing what is safe, and I think we're still natural in a way. Let's believe in our own, let's promote our own.
And if you think that what is out there is really not healthy enough, then you can effectively get into it, and that's the gospel that we are all actually preaching, that you can effectively get into it and actually figure out a way of how to implement change, or even make it correct.
And that's why Agri-preneur Cameroon is there for you, coming up with even things like we want to be an Agri-preneur, is to encourage the agri-preneurship, the transformational aspect in agricultural we want, and the standard we want, and the healthy living we want. That's who we are. That's what we want our youth to understand.
I mean, we've actually brushed it up, we've put it on the table, we've actually shattered the table with that, we've said everything about this project, I believe.
Financial literacy is the key to everything you do. Financial sustainability and commercial success is key for every venture you do, and that's why we came up with a component of this competition, which is a voting. 40% of you winning our 2 million grants to carry out a project, or even is a 500,000 for individuals, or giving them to do startups in any agricultural company they are doing, is that you have to be convincing. You have to sell yourself. You have to be able to, we don't just give you money, it's not a giveaway. You have to be sustainable by saying that we want it to be a commercial success, so we're giving you to multiply. So any school that's taking part, you have to be able to convince the public of your good standing, your image, why people have to send their kids to your school, why you think you could be entrepreneurial, why do you think you're different, by convincing the public to vote for your project for just 100 francs. I mean, if you can't convince me to buy something, your product or service for 100 francs, then I don't think you could convince me to give you 2 million. So I think that said, you have to cross across boundaries. The Cameroonians both at home and abroad, and that's why our voting link, you could vote from anywhere in the world, and that's in your own way promoting these schools with good projects. I wish we could finance all of them, but I think as we grow by, as it grows, and the more money we generate from the vote, we'll be able to give even 5 million to 1 or 2 schools so that they do something substantial and they become sustainable and they could help their community where they belong. Yeah.
So even actually before getting to vote, I mean, you know, people must probably understand this particular project and get maybe exposed to it. So where can they?
You follow up. You could follow up. We have social media. Who wants to be an agripreneur? It could be our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, our YouTube channels. So we're digital. Go there, follow our page, like you see some of the projects the kids are promoting. And if it's a school, alumni of those various schools, go like, promote, share, and encourage people to vote. Just as little as 100 francs to vote for a project, it goes a long way to help that school accomplish. And CRTV and Canaldo, they regularly cover it. So if you follow them up, especially on Cameroon Feeling, you always see beautiful presentation from those major media houses.
So what other initiatives are in the pipeline, or is it going to be who wants to be an agripreneur for the long run?
No, there are many in the pipeline. As I said, there's still many grounds to break. And that's me.
Also fertile ground for ideas.
Yes, for ideas. Yeah, it's an incubator. And it will going to finance. There are many projects in waste management and agriculture that will come up, and then we're going to give them the light of the day, and many other things. We'll flow with the times. We'll flow with innovations. Once we want to be one step ahead, once we see something that's been done already out there in Europe that's not affected here in Africa or in Cameroon, we'll try to follow in a positive way. Why not? Or even be the originals, you know. And so, pacesetters in all we do. Yeah.
So how can people be a part of what you do, a part of your work on all the projects, on who wants to be an agripreneur? How can people?
Yeah, you could promote in your own various ways by speaking good about a good initiative. I know Cameroonians don't like to speak good about in doing that. So let's give this a chance, please. This is a project that's building up the capacity of our youth. There's no need for us to go negative about it because it helps no one. Let's not be dream killers. Let's promote it in one way or the other in our various. For Christ's sake, I know I was intentional. I've not contacted major bloggers to promote this because I think a good idea doesn't need me paying people to do it. And the Cameroon, I know the bloggers will shy away from it. But then I'm happy for what you're doing. I'm not paying a dime. You're calling me to come talk about this. And I think let's get that positive. When something is good, let's promote. It must not necessarily be money because it's touching the lives of individuals and those youths.
And especially youth.
Do the best you can. And those who want to make it grow, vote for the schools that you want to win. That's the best way you could support it.
All the ex-students associations, if you can.
Lessons, Chessans, Sobans,
we know the power.
Repacol, and Repacol amazingly is doing wonderfully well in the polls. So
that's nice.
Yeah, St. Paul's Bamenda is picking up.
So anything else you want to say? Anything else we don't know?
Yeah, all I just want to say, fellow Cameroonians, Cameroon belongs to all of us. Let's believe in our country. Let's believe in ourselves. The aspirant community, is time to rebuild our nation. Let's make Cameroon the El Dorado of Africa. Let's mentor these youths to believe in our country. As I said, the greatest war we need to fight is a war against poverty, hunger, and unemployment. And yes, I decided to launch this activity in Bamenda and Southwest and Boya because it's one of the zones suffering from the socio-political crisis. So I'm taking my doctrine to you. I did that in Yaoundé only for the first edition, but this time I've been in Boya, Bamenda. I'm coming. I'll be there on the 9th to tell you that good things is for everybody. I'm coming to meet my people. I'm coming to meet the youths to see that this opportunity is for you, Bamenda. God has given you a fertile land. Let's make use of our land. Let's make use of our community talents we have to be entrepreneurs in the agri-preneurial sector. Once we have much to feed and sell and educate our people, we'll see no reason to fight ourselves. So, Bamenda Boya, take this as a gray area and let's maximize it. Okay, Cameroon is for everyone. Let's believe in our country. God bless you. I love you all.
Amen.
Amen.
So when is the Douala launch?
Douala launch will be sometime in January. So, but I'm already here to do the groundwork. We already have 3 schools, so I'm doing the groundwork. About 6 schools will take part, and we'll have a break for Xmas, and then January we'll do the Douala launch. And I want the Gembali major space to be heavily involved in this. And I'm coming with a crew, with a team of about 6, 7. And I think we'll be talking with Gembali in terms of lodging and in terms of mobilization. Drum
roll, Douala
coming. Douala coming.
Okay, so I mean, it was such a nice time. This has been, you were not here with us, but this has been the longest interview that we've ever had. It might not appear long when we edit it for you, but this has been hours and hours and hours of just having honest conversations of our personal opinions and our own perspective. We are just sharing you the knowledge that we've probably gained somehow, and we are just having conversations about real life things, and we hope that you connect with us. We hope that you get to see value in what we bring in to you. We hope that you get to share. We hope you comment, and we hope that you take part in this movement. So thank you once again for watching us on Gembali Media, and this has been one hell of an interview. We look forward to seeing you next time. Keep up with all the good work. Thank you.